Hello, all, and welcome. It's your favorite gorilla here. So, I've been hearing a lot of people saying that they don't like Strange New Worlds because it violates a lot of continuity there. I've heard the same thing about Enterprise. Heck, heard the same thing probably through most series. So, I thought, let's talk about, does the canon really matter? Like, as a personal opinion. Because and I'll be the first to say it, I have nitpicked canon before, mostly on Discovery, but that's because Discovery pissed me off a lot more than the canon did. Where I had to first season, I had to read most of the episodes there. Then the lighting was really dark. You had Michael Burnham as a Mary Sue there. And then the fan base pissed me off with that even more by just saying we just don't like her because she's black. No, it's because she's a shitty ass fucking character. I'm not having that fucking argument again. But then I kind of did nitpick the Klingons again, but I was already pissed off at that point at the show. It's not the very first thing and the only thing I complained about was the canon violations. Oh, plus Discovery is an ugly ass ship. But I feel that if the story and the show is good enough on its own merits, that then maybe the canon doesn't matter as much. Heck, even TNG has had a lot of moments where the canon didn't line up even within the same show. The perfect example is when Wesley claimed that the Klingons were part of the Federation when it's its own empire. But anyhow, the thing with Strange, I do like Strange New Worlds, and even if the canon does matter on it there, we could go. I think a reasonable explanation, and it's not that there's three timelines, but we had the temporal Cold War in Enterprise there. And hey there, 47 Yorktown. We had the temporal Cold War in Enterprise. Who's to say when they reset the timeline at the end that a few things got it as close as they can? Because when they in the Year of Hell with the Krenim time ship there, no matter how many times they tried to reset the timeline, the best they could even get was 95%. But it wasn't the one colony they wanted back. But it was that 95% restoration. What the Krenim Empire or Krenim whatever Imperium, I think it was the term that they used, could be. So, with that being said, who's to say that during the Enterprise there that a few things didn't get missed when they reset the timeline? For example, maybe the Gorn made a different choice, after they reset the timeline, and they met the Federation 10 years before that they were supposed to, or whenever. I think Strange New Worlds is 10 years before Kirk was supposed to take command. Anyhow, so so that could be that leads to me thinking Alrighty. Can you guys hear me? Alrighty. So where was I now? I was talking about Enterprise there. I was mentioning the Time ship there. So basically what I was saying is that with with uh the temporal Cold War there, just slight little variations that they couldn't fully restore. That could explain every little thing. And just to be blunt with people that say the ship's not the Enterprise and all that, just to be blunt, we're coming up on a new age here. Here, the generation that grew up on the original TOS there is retiring. They're going to be traveling around doing their little thing, enjoying life. And a bunch of them have already entered Stovacor. So this new ship is modern because us younger people won't accept the original Enterprise just because it looks too outdated and we know our tech's advanced way past what they had. It was acceptable in the 60s. Granted, it's a beautiful looking ship and I'll accept it TOS as, because I enjoy the show. It was good writing for the most part. It had fun stories. But we're coming up on a new generation where we got this modernized tech. Heck, I got a touchscreen sitting right here right next to my computer. We got computers that are touchscreens. We're not going to accept button pushes and little twisty knobs as a thing. That's just a plain and simple fact. This show here was built solely for the new generation of upcoming Trekkers or Trekkies. So they had to modernize it. Now they could have gone a little bit more, made it look more and more like the real Enterprise, but we're also in a time. Well, do you want to come up here, Resolute? I got the link in the chat. We can have a discussion on that there. But also this is a time of higher def television. Heck, we got 4K televisions now. Back in the 60s, that wasn't even 144 resolution, let alone the 4K we got now. So, and I'll put Resolute's comment up here. Okay, so you're busy at the moment. That's okay. Yeah, yeah, and I do like the look of it. I think it could have gotten by with the same look, but the interior there with the buttons and all that stuff, I don't think they could have gotten away with that as easily with the newer generation. Is all I'm saying. They could have probably kept the same kind of look there, but I do like the look of the new Enterprise. And the Gorn thing overall didn't bother me all that much. Like I was explaining, I just think that was just a little bit of a flop with the temporal Cold War. That could be my excuse. And hey there, pop culture, welcome. There. But to me, the canon ain't as important to like some of the smaller stuff. Like yeah, the big like huge canon there, I can see where people can get upset with that. But if it's a small, tiny little stuff like, oh, they met the Gorn like 10 years sooner than they did in Arena, I can forgive that. And and for um and for all we know, they could have a reasonable explanation for that in the upcoming seasons. And that maybe some species did like a mind wipe and they forgot all about this stuff. And hey there, Indy.
Hey, Gorilla, how's Gorilla business?
Oh, I don't know if you've seen my 5 minute countdown loop I had to do.
No, I missed that.
Oh yeah, my computer just said, "Oh, we were encountered an error. We're restarting," and it did like a percentage thing
Mm.
and just restarted all on its own.
Yeah, I had that happen to me recently too, and it's like, God damn it, you know, these machines are taking over our lives.
Yeah, so I think 47 is agreeing with me on that on the enterprise part. Today I was I've been hearing everybody was complaining about Strange New World, so I thought, does that much of canon really matter? That's the question for the day.
Yeah, and I saw the notification the other day where you were going to talk about this subject. So that's and
Yeah,
I was looking forward to it. And the answer is yes and no. Canon matters when you're doing um, a long story format like Discovery. Its own canon matters. The story itself. You got to keep it consistent.
yeah, yeah,
On something like Strange New Worlds, canon doesn't matter as much because it's episodic.
yeah. And I had a kind of like I did a kind of like a small explanation what I think could explain the canon or the reason that the canon doesn't line up with like TOS and all that. Do you remember the episode, "The Year of Hell" from Voyager?
Yes.
Remember how they kept trying and trying to restore the Crenum Imperium there, but the best
Yes.
they could ever got was 95%, even though they said screw that because the one colony wasn't replaced. Well,
Yeah. So see,
what if in the temporal Cold War they couldn't fully restore the timeline? The best they could do was maybe 85%, and that explained like why the Gorn showed up t- 10 years earlier and why the technology looks a lot different than what it did in Kirk's time.
yeah, I think that's a reasonable explanation for
Yeah,
that.
I'm not going for the triple timeline theory. I'm
Right.
going with the Year of Hell that they couldn't fully restore it. So in a way it did branch off into its own timeline, but yet it's just a timeline that couldn't have been that wasn't fully restored where something happened where it caused all these changes.
Yeah. And to me, that's what's happening at the end of season 3 of Enterprise, where you see all this montage of things going on. It is a reset of the timeline
Yeah.
so that the temporal Cold War
Yeah.
ends, and most things are getting reset. Maybe not everything.
Yeah. And okay. And 47 Yorktown said the Discovery had a story. Resolute's like, yes, Yorktown, the story is Mickey Spock is the bestest ever. And Professor Braceback, welcome there. You're welcome to come up on the panel too. We get this. We're just sharing our opinions here. He said yes, and that is all. So
uh,
yeah, but
I mean,
like
it would be great if the Gorn aren't showing up 10 years early, or if they just didn't know that it was the. What would be really good is if we never see the Gorn, we don't know that they're the Gorn. We just know that they're an aggressive species that we never see, um, and that's it.
yeah, and that make a great for that's a mistake in the writing there, but there that could have been a great for the mistake in the writing there, but so they like the Federation did meet the Gorn before, but they they didn't realize it's the Gorn.
Yeah, exactly. That would be cool if especially if we as the audience were somehow to see the Gorn, and we know that it's the Gorn, but Captain Pike and his crew don't know anything about this species other than they're an aggressive species.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Here, um. Here, just a sec. I gotta get something set up for my kid here.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Okay.
So, what do you think of that, Professor Brainy Specs? Would that make Star Trek Strange New Worlds more palatable for you?
Yeah. The only thing that really pissed me off about Strange New Worlds was that they showed the January 6th and the BLM riots there when half the people haven't even been to trial yet, and they're actually starting to drop a lot of the charges against people. But I think that was too soon for that. They could have at least waited until all the trials were done before they did anything with that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
It's not the fact
Especially,
that they It's not the fact that they showed January 6th or BLM, even though some of those a lot of those people aren't getting trials, but that's a different song. But they could at least wait until the trials were done. Like someone pointed out that the Nazi episode premiered 20. Oh shoot, I said a naughty.
yeah, you
YouTube
did.
won't like me now. But
No,
anyhow,
here.
the the Nuremberg trials there, when those were all over and done with, except for a few stragglers that they're trying to hunt down. But for the most part, most of them have been sentenced. Heck, even some of them have already started getting out of prison by the time that episode aired. Versus
Yeah,
this, most of the people who were arrested and are actually got trial dates, or some of them haven't even been signed trial dates yet to even plead guilty or not guilty. And that's where all it's doing is splitting the fan base right there. That's the one. That's the only thing that so far that's really upset me on Strange New Worlds. Because I can forgive the few canon violations that they've had so far in order to because I think there might be an explanation for some of this coming later on, especially if the fans start bitching enough about it, I suppose. But there might be an explanation for all these little things pointed out to be like maybe the whole crew got like some kind of mind wipe and they right before Kirk got onto the ship or
yeah.
something
That
like
that
that.
would be. I don't like. That would be another one of. That would just be another cop out. I think if you mind wipe the crew and they forgot all these things. Um,
No, but I have a feeling that's what's going to happen.
it's a reset and it's dumb
Yeah,
because
but
for the same reason that the entire for all the dream sequences that have happened over the years since Dallas did it, where somebody lives an entire season and then the beginning of the next season they wake up and that whole previous season is just a dream. That's just so bad. That is just a terrible way to try to resolve an issue that you regret. You know, there's got to be better ways to resolve an issue
well at least
that you
what
regret in TV.
um well at least what was it called, American Horror Story or something. One season's one story, but then the next season's a whole different story.
Yeah.
That's
So
kind of
yeah,
like what Discovery's doing.
yeah, that's exactly what Discovery is doing, and Discovery season 4 is actually pretty decent. It's actually kind of watchable.
Well, at least I didn't have to read half the damn episode.
And
Because I did say at the very beginning of the thing, yes, I have nitpicked canon before, but that's because Discovery had already pissed me off with me
well,
having to read half the first season or half the episodes in the first season. I had to read half the episodes. The lighting was so dark. Then we had Mary Sue Burnham, stuff like that. then the with the Klingons there, the just that then I started nitpicking it, you know. But I was already upset with the show
Right.
versus I right off the bat out there I'm liking Strange New Worlds. And I thought it had strong and another thing I was saying I was saying this before you and Professor showed up was with Strange New Worlds, it's built for us younger audiences, you know, versus because we did not grow up on TOS and all that, and
Mm-hmm.
the TOS, the inside like with the like just the consoles are out look outdated to us because we grew up on touch screens and all that,
Right.
regular computers. So in a way, I'm not going to say the R word, but it's meant for us younger students and with updated technology, because they probably in the '60s never would have dreamt of us having touch screens.
Well, I kind of like Salty Trekker's explanation because it makes a lot of sense. Um, Touchscreens are easy to accidentally touch and have something happen. It happens to me all the time. I put my phone in my pocket. The next thing I know, YouTube is playing, or Pandora is
Because
playing, or
oh, you don't have the your settings set right then, because I got mine there where like if like it could detect that it's in my pocket, so
yeah,
the buttons won't press themselves.
right,
Because I got there's like a pocket setting or something, or it could detect. It's like based on the lighting there, so it's a lot harder like in a dark room for me to press stuff. You know, they'll
right,
actually have to physically feel my finger. You know, type deal. But
yeah,
when it's in my pocket, it detects that it's in my pocket and my fingers aren't directly touching it.
right, yeah. Even like in my car where I set the phone into the cup holder and it shifts around and it turns itself on or off. It
Yeah.
turns something on or off.
Were you driving down a bumpy road?
Well, yeah, sometimes it's like there's always road work in DC.
Oh, what you need then is just got what I got. I got a clip on my air vent. I just put my phone in there, and then it keeps my phone clipped to the air thing. It doesn't bounce around.
Yeah,
I got that for $3.
yeah, but yeah, so it makes sense not to have touch screens somewhat in Star Trek because you're on a military vessel. You don't want to accidentally set something off.
Oh, you
But
don't want to start sending photon per
torpedo,
torpedoes in every random direction.
nope. But I do agree that it does have a little bit of a dated look to it. Um, but that's just,
Yeah. Well, my point was they're just trying to make it look more modern for us, younger
right.
to draw us younger viewers
Yeah,
in
exactly.
because like people that are young like me, I'll accept the original Enterprise there, no problem, you know, because because I understand. But a lot of the younger viewers go, that technology's so outdated. We don't do buttons no more. We don't do twist knobs, type
Really?
deal.
What do you call it? What do you call a keyboard?
No, but you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like there's 100 and some number of buttons on your keyboard. What do you
Is there
call
over
that?
100? Yeah, you're saying there's over 100 on here.
I think so. It's like 102 or something. Or maybe it's not. No, it can't be. More like 50, right?
I
Because
know
there's
there's I know there's 26 for sure.
yeah, there's 26, and then there's 10, so that's 36, and then I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. I'm not going to count them. But yeah, so I like it so far. I'm really liking Star Trek: Strange New World so far. It's really good, and especially this week's episode with its slow burn. I mean, I kind of predicted that it was going to be uh, the what it was, where the kid, ends up where he is. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. But
Yeah. And apparently Resolute doesn't respect anybody under 25. And Indy, well, on my keyboard there's exactly 100 keys, so
okay,
I counted it out. I sit there counting it out while you're talking.
okay. See, there you go.
I didn't
Um,
realize there's that many keys on the keyboard.
yeah, it doesn't seem like it when you look at it, does it?
No, it seems like more like there's 60 of them.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. Yeah, looking at it. But like I said, I heard that it was 102 keys. So
Well, that might be on different keyboards too. There might be keyboards that have a few extra
yeah,
buttons too. So
yeah, and technology is different, um, and that's probably a number that's a little bit out of date or something. So yeah, but anyway,
yeah.
100 keys. Wow, that's amazing.
Well, if you think about it, there's 20 number keys, 26 letters in the alphabet. Then you got the all your F keys. There's 12 F keys.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Well, 47 Yorktown, I'm pretty sure that a Mexican keyboard would be a lot worse than that because you got the weird letters that all that in there also, like the double L and the N with that little squiggly line on top. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple. There's the E with the weird mark.
There's a few, yeah, there's a few accent keys. But don't you just hold down a control key or a function key or a shift or an alt or
Yeah,
something to get those?
probably.
I think that's what you do.
But like if say you buy like a specifically a Latino keyboard there, then it might have an actual set key, so you don't have to do that alt whatever just to get that N or that double L or
Yeah.
that apostrophe or whatever. I kind of want to see what an Arab keyboard would look like.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Actually, I might even Google that, even though that's not specifically since we got off of Canon. Even though we got off Canon here.
Did I drop off?
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
no. I need someone to bounce off there.
I'm just trying to hit random keys to see what they do, and it's like now I can't find the live stream in my tabs. So
Yeah,
it's like, okay, that's weird. It just sort of disappeared on me, but I guess
yeah,
if I'm still on.
yeah. This is an Arabic keyboard or part of it.
Yeah, I can't see anything now.
Oh,
That's all right.
you might have to watch that on the replay there. Time mark
Yeah. Oh,
37
here we
minutes.
go. There we go. I just start. You know what I did? I hit Control N. I know what Control N does.
Okay.
It starts. It creates a new window.
Yeah, 47 Yorktowns now googling a Mexican keyboard.
Mexican keyboard. Well, what about Chinese or Japanese keyboard? They
Yeah,
got.
I'm pretty sure they'll be along the same lines as this.
I mean, you look at. Uh, there's actually a scene in one of the James Bond movies. I think it's one of the later Pierce Brosnan's where he decides he's going to use the keyboard in China. He's with a Chinese agent. I think it's actually Michelle Yeoh, um, and he takes one look at the keyboard, and it's like insane amount of keys. It's like they're raised up so that they can have extra um, things on the side of the key. You got the main key on top, the main character on top, but then you got like two alternate characters printed on the side of the keyboard. on the side of the key. It's like, oh my god. He's like, okay, you do this, I'll do the other thing,
Yeah,
because he
that's a
can't.
headache and a half. That's a headache and a half.
Oh yeah.
Or would
Well,
that be a headache times two?
I mean, it's because their keys, their alphabet are words. A single character means an entire word.
Yeah. I'm still laughing at oh this one says that's Tomorrow Never Dies. I
Yeah,
guess that's the name of the movie. But now I forgot what I was gonna say, damn it.
damn it, Gumby. Oh yeah. Oh my god. I'm looking at one now. It's got like four characters on each key.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I can't
Um
I can't even look at it. It's so bad. It's such bad resolution picture. You can't even tell.
yeah. Yeah, it says my favorite Bond movie because of that Bond girl. but no, have you ever seen those tattoos of those people that like to get those think it's so cute to get the Chinese characteristics on them tattooed on them
Yeah.
when they go to like China and all that? Well, there's
Yeah.
a person who was offering free translations. All you have to do is like send him a picture and he'll translate it for him. And
Yes.
yeah, one gal, she thought she was getting like love or peace or something on it, and it just said drunken slut. And
Yeah.
and another guy, I can't remember what he thought he got, but it just said fucking foreigner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because nobody does their research ahead of time.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like if you don't know what the characters look like, of course they can tattoo anything they want on you.
Yeah, by the time you realize it, it's too damn late to sue them.
Yeah.
No, I don't know how that'd work in China, suing someone, especially if you got the tattoo in China.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Because of course the Chinese are gonna side with the China person.
Well, that's getting dangerously close to a Rossism, as as Anna, that Star Wars girl would say. That's a Rossism.
No, it's not. They're siding with the person from their own country. It's not racism. It's just it's nationalism.
uh, yeah,
But anyhow, let's get back to canon before YouTube decides to say F it.
yeah, cuts us off.
Yeah,
Yeah, so canon. I don't. And the funny thing is, um, like, I think my first real video, not the first couple of ones where I just filmed the weather for like 5 minutes.
yeah, I
My
know what you're
first,
talking about.
yeah, my first,
Can Discovery take advantage of Alpha Canon? I think it was.
yeah, and canon doesn't have to weigh you down. It doesn't. It's 50 years of or 60 years of canon now, but it doesn't have to be an anchor around your neck. It can be, if you use it correctly, like in season 1 of Star Trek Discovery, they could have used all three Klingons. They could have used the TOS Klingons, because we know they're augments, they're human augments, as cannon fodder. That's the face that the Federation sees, right?
Yeah,
Because for 100 years, these augments have been gaining in power and gaining in popularity over the great houses, right? So
right.
so they throw the great houses being threatened are like, well, we're just going to throw you to the wolves, right? You're going to be the ones who are fighting the Federation, and you're the ones who are going to be dying on the front line. They could have the TMP and TNG are Klingons. That's the people who are the great houses. And they could have had their own augments that are Klingon augments, and that could be the Discovery era Klingons. And it would
Yeah,
have been it would have been so much more interesting. The political intrigue, uh,
yeah.
of having the puppet masters of the great houses.
Or they could have even did like a thing like 10,000 years ago, a group of Klingons left the homeworld for another habitable planet in the same solar system, and that's why and that could through evolution. That's all the changes that they could have had some kind of explanation to why they look, kind of like the Romulans and the Vulcans, why they look similar. They're the same
Y-
species, but they grew up in different solar or on different planets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
See,
even that could have been considered a cop out, though. But
yeah,
yeah, Resolute says I was right
yeah, I
here.
see that. Yeah,
I wanted to address that comment there real quick.
yeah,
And
I see that. Yeah, he's right. Chinese people have no rights,
we
and
have even less
foreigners
reason.
have less. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that would have been a good. That would have been a reasonable explanation too. You've got Klingons who look different just naturally because of the environment that they grew up in. You could have three. Yeah, 10,000 years ago, you could have had one set of Klingons go off to one world and another set go off to another world, and then because of evolutionary pressures, they turn out looking different.
Or even just go with the explanation is they got pissed off with the home world, so they genetically altered themselves to look different to distinguish themselves away from the homeworld Klingons.
Yeah, anything like that, anything.
Actually, I think that would have been a cool idea to explore right there.
Yeah, and that's part of what I'm saying too. It's like you have these three different Klingon
Well,
almost.
actually, it'd be four different Klingons because you got the original TOS, which were the flat skin augments, and you got the surgically altered ones. That gave them the ridges that for their spine to go up over their forehead look from the movies. But then
Yeah,
you got the Burnham era Klingon look too. Yeah, there.
yeah. So yeah, but
It'd be
anything is better than just the fact that they changed the Klingons just to change the Klingons.
yeah. At least
Yeah,
have an in universe explanation.
yeah, absolutely. And
But
then
But this is just me nitpicking, It's not, I don't like Discovery for that specific reason. That's just nitpicking because I didn't like the show.
yeah, the show, yeah, the characters are just not that good. I People seem to like Saru. I don't like Saru. He's not an interesting character to me, you know. And they and unfortunately, because he's in those, um, because the actor is in um, those boots of his, he can't fight. He can't participate in a physical fight. You see this in one of the, I think it's season 3, right, where they're at the bar and they get into a scrap with these guys and he can't move, you know and so they had to give him some kind of like projectile. He's got projectile weapons as part of his natural state, as part of his natural being. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my god, that's so dumb.
Oh, I didn't think Saru's makeup was that bad. It wasn't great, but I didn't think it was that bad. I kind of like the look of the Kelpians a little bit, you know, but I still don't like their backstory, and especially if you want to go complain about the Kelpins, how the fuck did one Kelpin cause the fucking burn by having a tantrum in dilithium nursery there? That'd be like my kid going out to an oil field, throwing a temper tantrum in every car that started and the world blows up.
That is so.
The
That
May
is the
the
self indulgence of, honest to God, that's the self indulgence of the writers being, um, this is how this is how all of us feel. They're inserting themselves into this character. Um, we all, we're all young and dumb and inexperienced, and this is how we feel,
yeah,
the way that the world is.
yeah.
It's not catered to immediately gratify every desire that we have, and that's just wrong. And so now we're going to throw a tantrum, and so we're going to throw a temper tantrum, and bad things are going to happen. That was a self-insert if I ever saw one.
Well, that's because that falls back on the old saying of bad times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. Then weak men make bad times, and then the cycle starts over again.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it's just they're adolescents, and writing that particular season was just an adolescent wet dream.
Yeah.
So it's just
Uh,
that's
I wish they would have had. If they're going to go with the Burn story, they should have had a better explanation, like say that like the or at least go like some kind of energy surge went through the mycelial network, and the mycelial networks like tied to the dilithium, like made the mycelial network tied to dilithium networks. You could have had like some kind of energy surge travel through the dilithium there through the mycelial network. They could have tied that into the mycelial networks with something like that.
yeah, they could have done something, yeah, something better than what they did, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then there was just some kind of like air, or even made it like a terrorist attack on a nursery there, where they purposely, like someone purposely sent like a charge or something, and the charge traveled through the mycelial network, and it just happened to be any dilithium that was getting used at the time kind of exploded from the electrical charge, which caused the warp core breaches.
Well,
That could have been a great, like maybe some like that explanation needs some polishing and stuff like that. But I think that'd be like a good way to tie in the mycelial network to your standard warp cores.
yeah, that would have been better for sure. But the honest to God, I don't know why they would not have different technology 900 years in the future, though. That's where I think they fell down. It's like,
Yeah,
why are they even still using warp drive? There are so many other ways to get around the galaxy, and
yeah.
even and
You think
even
they could
between
create
galaxies.
their own warp core, or not warp core, wormholes by then? Because wormholes can be artificially created. They can be created in Voyager's timeline there, with the Borg made their own transwarp conduits.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
there was the episode with the Vadoir. There they found the subspace corridor there that was artificially made with their. Or you had the slipstream drive too. They could perfected that.
Yeah, there's any number of ways to get around in Star Trek. It's not just all about warp drive.
And hell, even the Romulans there, if it wasn't for the supernova, they would have been the dominant species in the galaxy because they didn't use dilithium.
Right? Yeah, they use that, what, an
A
artificial,
micro singularity,
yeah,
they called it.
artificial singularity. Yeah, absolutely. So
But the problem with the Romulans, like, how did they drop out of warp then? How did Romulans drop out of warp, but they couldn't shut down their warp drives, because of that artificial singularity. How they
Ah,
managed to stop the ship?
I have no idea. I
Because they
haven't
said, because
haven't
you
thought
remember
about
them
that.
saying, you remember they were saying that they couldn't shut down the warp drive in the Romulan ship there. So how do they stop? How do they stop when they want to stop or drop out of warp if they can't shut it down?
Do you mean in the episode where they get out of phase, where a couple of people get out of phase with each other?
Oh, that might have been
Or
the
when-
episode, but that still wouldn't explain like all these different. But it's been established in canon that they cannot shut down the warp drive. The Romulans cannot shut down the warp drive, but yet they can always stop when they want to, and they can al- and they can always go at impulse when they want to.
Huh.
But yet they say that they can't shut down their warp drive.
I don't know, girl. I don't remember that, but
But oh,
maybe
you
they
don't
just
remember saying that? Saying that?
no, I don't. Maybe they just stopped feeding the warp drive. Maybe the drive is active, but there's no fuel get. Maybe they just shut down the fuel flow or something.
Yeah. That'd probably be a good John DeMarco question right there.
Yep, absolutely.
Or wait, I could probably hop on. Hey, maybe on Monday I'll try to remember to get onto Orange River's pod. Maybe he could do a video on how all that how that ramen works.
Yeah, stop feeding reaction material. Yeah, that's exactly right. Germ. So that's how I would do it. You know, you want to slow down, you just take your foot off the gas. And,
Yeah, but maybe I'll sit there and Google and maybe I'll make a live stream on how exactly the Romulan engines worked. I think that'd be a good video right there. Oh,
that would be
I could
cool.
have pictures ready. I'll just have to do it in live stream format because I'm not sure how to edit videos quite yet.
Well,
Or
you know,
even
all I do is I go into OBS and I put a bunch of pictures into a scene collection, and then I start the recording button and I click through each scene as I talk. It's static, but it works.
yeah, the singularity just replaced the dilithium, not the antimatter.
Hmm.
Okay, so they slam antimatter into the singularity then.
Yeah, they probably do. Matter and antimatter.
I'm gonna be googling this crap here. Maybe I'll do that while Salty's streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I started early today because I was hoping I'd have a few people up here. We could all have this canon discussion and all that, all that. I was actually I thought you might be working late tonight, but it's good to have you on again. I haven't got to actually have a good conversation with you for a while.
Yeah, I know. Lately I've been it's either I'm working late or I'm just too tired to stay up.
Mm,
So,
mm,
but have you seen um, the Orville?
yeah. Okay, I'll look into that. Thank you very much, Resolute. There. Oh yeah, this last episode of Warville. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I think everybody who's watching has seen it. Have you seen the new episode?
I have, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Did you get the feeling that is the episode Night from Voyager mixed with every bad horror trope ever?
It was definitely a horror episode,
Well, like no, the bad horror tropes, the bad horror.
and and I think, well, I kind of think it had to be done. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
Do you remember the episode Night from Voyager?
uh, remind me. It's
That's the one where they go into the void and they spend 2 months in this void with absolutely no stars and all that. The crew start going
Right.
stir crazy.
Yes. 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 I remember that episode.
It's kind of like that, but then you get your bad horror tropes that you get from every bad horror movie mixed into there.
Yeah.
Like the kid not believing the kids when they say that there's something there. There go. Oh, we'll just find your parents. Everything's gonna be all right. Oh, you're
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah. I was a little bit, and again, not to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. I was a little bit disappointed with the end because they didn't acknowledge all of the things that happened. You know,
Yeah,
uh, Captain Mercer should have had um, some kind of ceremony.
yeah. But
And they should have still been counting. You know, you know what I'm talking about. They should have
yeah,
still been counting and figuring out who was left at the end. So there should have been
yeah,
some acknowledgement of the actual event.
yeah. But as soon as that admiral said he was gonna stay on the ship there he had some kind of love interest with Claire there. I was like, yep, he's gonna die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Especially if it was a TOS episode. If it was
yeah.
a TOS like a TOS episode, then then it'd be automatic he's dead.
Yep, exactly. He's the red shirt, Admiral Red Shirt.
Maybe all the purple shirts that are on the ship will die if we see it.
Except for those who are main characters.
Yeah, well, we see. Well,
Like,
I made the joke that someone made the comment go, I wonder who's gonna die. I was like, anybody who's in the red shirt's gonna die. And
yeah,
then they did have a red shirt. The first red shirt we did see that was not
yeah,
in a group died.
yeah.
Or
Um,
would he be considered an orange shirt?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because it looked the uniform looked a little orange, but wait, that might have been a red shirt. They do have red. That'd be security.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, Kala is definitely wearing red.
Yeah. Let's see. Blue. So
Talakia.
red is security.
Yep.
Blue is command.
Yep.
Uh, green is that both science and medical.
I don't. It's a good question. I think that they are basic sciences. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're.
Then orange is engineering,
Yeah.
except or engineering and helm because Malloy don't know shit about engineering, but he can hug the donkey real well.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. I wish they had brought more of those new fighter craft on board
Yeah.
too.
Okay, so red is red security, orange is operations.
Okay.
So yeah, that fall under Malloy's there. I do like the design of the new shuttles, except one thing we pointed out in the first episode there is why the hell are they doing battle drills next to the brand new space docks there
I
with
don't.
with live fire. They had live fire because he's blowing up those droids with what particle beams or whatever the hell they're using.
Yep, I
So they
don't
had,
know. That to me is like, what the hell are they doing? They got a large portion of the fleet doing refits at this place.
yeah, and it's a brand new space dock facility
Yeah,
with live. It's not that they're flying. It wasn't even that they're flying around the damn thing, But they're using live fire that can blow a hole in the side of the damn space dock and inject a bunch of people out into space.
yeah,
Just imagine if they will hit the recreation area on the space dock while their ships are getting refitted, and all of a sudden you got 50 people get blown out the side.
yeah. No
Hey,
shit.
that
It's like,
that
what the
that
hell
would
are
be
you thinking?
that would have been fun to see actually.
Yeah.
Which why is it when something like that happens we either laugh or it doesn't affect us at all? But you get like a dog in the show that dies, and all of a sudden we're all sad and sappy.
Hmm. Dogs are.
But what you know what I'm saying is like
Yeah.
when like 50 or 100 people die in this show, right? All in one thing, it doesn't affect us, or even that we're just joking about ejecting 100 people on the space because they're stupid to do live fire next to the space dock. But you
Yeah.
get like a character like in like Where the Red Fern Grows, then all of a sudden we get sad and mopey.
Yeah. I've never
Like
seen Where the Red Fern
when
Grows.
well, when Ann and Dan die, you know, you get all sad and soapy. But
Yeah.
but you eject 100 people out into space and nobody gives a shit, or even laughing about it. Go down
Yeah.
T2, you dumbasses.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or even
Yeah.
you get like a single character die. You know, you can get all sad and sappy like when Jack dies in Titanic. You know, nobody gave a shit about the 1,500 other people who went into the ocean. We just cared about Jack. Like
Right.
Rose, you fucking bitch! You can't move the fuck over and let Jack onto the door.
Yeah. Seriously. What's up? What is with that?
Yeah,
I mean,
they actually did a MythBusters on that. I
I
can't remember
know. I
what
saw it. Yeah.
the results were, but
Oh, two people could survive on that door. The door would not sink. You know, they
okay.
had they had I think they had Adam and Jamie both on the door.
Yeah, they're a lot heavier than Rose and Jack would have been.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly right. So, uh, yeah, that was just dumb. But the
But
whole
but you know what I'm saying is we felt really sad for Jack dying, you know,
yeah
but
we did.
we didn't care about the 1,500 other people who died or went into the ocean.
I actually I did an ethics paper on the Titanic, in engineering ethics, and I you kind of do you kind of really do care when you research it for real,
Yeah,
because it's like there were people who died, there were children who died alone, um,
yeah,
there were people who they brought the survivors into Halifax, Nova Scotia, right? And they
yeah,
didn't they didn't know. Some of them died after, and because some of them they brought the bodies back that they could find, and they buried them wherever they could, and nobody cared. You're not supposed to like if you're not Jewish, you're not supposed to be buried in a Jewish cemetery, right? Um, but at that point, it's like they just the Jewish cemeteries were like, yeah, we can accommodate you. We can
yeah. Well,
absolutely, absolutely. This is a tragedy beyond measure. We can
yeah,
absolutely,
they only found 300 out of the 1,500 that went into the ocean.
yeah,
You know, because a lot of the bodies sunk in there, and someone went down actually inside the ship.
yeah,
And that, but and how there's so much stuff that went wrong with the Titanic. Like first of all, like they cheapened out instead of using steel rivets, they decided to use just regular iron rivets. I'm not gonna get into like the conspiracy theory that the shit, but they did also have a. They said one thing that might have contributed to the sinking of the Titanic was apparently some of the coal caught on fire before they even took off, and you can see like a changing of color on the side of the ship in one of the photos, and that was weakening the steel as they're going along.
yeah. There was definitely a coal fire. There was definitely a coal fire in
Yeah,
the coal bins, um,
yeah,
and they do say that might have been a contributing factor to it.
yeah. But one of the biggest things was the rivets were cheap. They used cheap rivets and all that.
Yeah, they
Sorry, I'm laughing at Resolution's comment.
I know. Yeah, because you want Rose for yourself, Germ. We know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, you
saw
were
that.
just happy to see Rose's titties. That's what it was.
That's what I was
If
gonna
it wasn't
say.
for Jack, you wouldn't have
You,
gotten to see Rose's titties.
you saw those fun bags, and you're like, yeah, I want me some of that. Uh,
I still like the beginning of their she when they're discussing the thing on there. She goes, "I traced her back all the way to the 20s. She's an actress. There's your first clue, Sherlock. Like, if she was really on the Titanic, she'd be over 100 by now. Now she's a goddamn liar. She'll be 101 next month. Okay, she's a very old goddamn liar." No, but another thing that contributed to the tragedy of the Titanic is like one boat that is supposed to fit 70 full grown sized men only had like 13 people on it.
yeah, that's true.
They're like, "Oh, we're worried about the weight." They've been weight tested before they even before they even hooked them up to the ship.
Correct. That is true too. But it was a bunch of. But what really happened though is a bunch of little things happened that balled into this one big event.
Yeah.
The captain of the Titanic was brought on pretty much at the last minute. Captain Edward White, he's the
Yeah.
captain.
I thought
Or
Smith.
Smith, Edward Smith, Edward
Yeah.
Smith. He's the captain. He's brought on at the last minute, right?
Yeah, that's because he wanted to make it his final voyage on the flagship of the White Star Line.
Well, the White Star Line brought him on board because of his experience, right?
Yeah, 26 years if I remember correctly.
Something like that, yeah. And so he brought on his first officer, his chief executive officer, or whatever they called it, on the White Star Line. And so the guy who was supposed to be the exec got bumped down to first officer, and the first officer got bumped down to second officer, and the guy that he replaced had all the binoculars in his cabin for the lookouts, and nobody knew that.
Yeah, and now
So,
every year for a while, on his grave, there are people who leave a pair of binoculars on his grave.
oh, man,
Yeah, here, hold that thought for a second. I'm gonna grab another drink.
yep. So anyway, so that's one thing that happened, right? The second thing that happened, and honest to God, the safety record for transatlantic crossings of steamships was phenomenal.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
had only had 4 deaths in 40 years. 4 deaths on a transatlantic crossing of a steamship in 40 years. That kind of safety record is unbelievable.
yeah,
So they thought they knew what was going to happen, right? Because if they designed with specific intent in mind, right? With specific
yeah.
accidents in mind, right?
Right.
The most common accident that they had seen was one ship T-boning another ship,
Yeah.
and that would open up at most 2 compartments to the sea.
Yeah, and this iceberg here, when they sideswiped it, I actually did a research paper on this here. If the
Yeah.
ship would have stayed at going at full speed, and they did that hard to starboard, they
Yep.
might have actually missed the iceberg there because it would have been able to turn the ship faster. But since they tried stopping and doing that port rounding or whatever they called it, that
Mm-hmm.
that that prevented the ship from actually doing the full turn, no, instead of going full speed there. And another thing, there's a design flaw in the watertight compartments that they supposedly had. That they're above, just above the bulkheads there. There was a gap in the bulkheads there, so that allowed water to leap over top into the next compartment because they weren't fully sealed.
Right. Yeah, that's true because they were designing for this one situation
Yeah,
that they knew of,
yeah,
and they didn't foresee any more than one or two compartments being opened up to the sea, and the ship would have survived just fine. If even four of their compartments had flooded, the ship would have still survived. But more flooding occurred than what they expected because they hit an iceberg and were not hit by another ship. You know.
but you think they will have foreseen hitting an iceberg?
Well, that's the thing too, right? The captain only got one ice warning out of four or five
Well,
that came in.
he got six of them, but he ignored them. He said he
No, no, no,
they
no, no, no. He only got one.
oh, okay. The ship received six of them, but
Correct.
that asshole hole in the whatever the radio room or whatever
Yeah,
whatever room
yeah. Phillips.
didn't relay it on. But here's another thing too. There's ships that were in ice, and he told them to shut the hell up because he's trying to get messages out for the rich people too. So
Right. That's exactly.
those guys went to bed. So those ships, there's actually quite a few. There's a couple ships that are actually really close there,
Yeah,
and but the guy said, "Oh well, if we're not allowed to send them messages, might as well just." They turned off their whatever's and went back and went to bed.
yeah.
And
He was so.
before anybody asks what this has to do with canon, I'm pretty sure one of those rich people are transported a cannon on the Titanic. So
Yeah,
so that's our canon. That's our tie into canon.
yeah. The canon violation that Rose lived and Jack died. That's a canon violation because that's not where it really happened.
Yeah, right.
Um, but yeah, the guy had the radio operators. Radio was new. They weren't a part of the ship line. They were a private
Yeah,
contractor,
it was
and
a
they were and because they had something happened to their radio equipment that had to be fixed, and that took several hours to fix. The radio operator was frazzled trying to get all these messages out before they reached New York because that's the big thing for the
well.
rich people.
He's getting tipped really well. Well, what do you call those things? Those that they tapped that they did the Morse code on. Um, it wasn't radio. What do
Yeah,
they call it?
I don't know what
What,
you'd call them.
oh,
The clicker? Yeah, I don't know what you
clickers.
call that.
I'm just gonna Google this because that's bugging me now.
Yeah. So yeah, the guy was frazzled. He did actually yell at the guy. The one guy. Absolutely, he did. Um, there was no there was no policy in place to get ice warnings to the bridge in a timely manner, which is the dumbest thing you could ever think of. But that's insight.
So I typed in Morse code machine into telegraph, but a
Yeah.
lot of
Oh,
these are
right.
yeah, a lot of these are just labeled Morse code machine.
Right.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
telegraph machine,
Yeah.
but it's a wireless cable telegraph machine.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how that works with back thing,
Yeah.
but but here's a fact there too. Since it was flying a British flag, it only needed to have 16 lifeboats on that, and that's just a very since the Titanic was technically considered a lifeboat itself because it's so big. It
Right.
only needed to have 16 lifeboats on it, and that's just
Right.
to transfer passengers from one ship to another.
Right. Yeah.
But if it's an American ship, it would have been required to have 46.
Right. Right, and they had more than the 16. They had like I don't know, like double that
20.
or something.
Didn't
Yeah,
know they had 20.
yeah,
They had
that's right.
they added four extra ones there.
That's right. Yeah, they did. That's absolutely right. But yeah, yeah, because they had there had been an accident a few years before, right, where one ship collided with another ship, and one was sinking, and it took like 36 hours to sink. So there was plenty of time to get people off the ship, even with other ships that had to come on site to
Yeah.
do it. Nobody died in that accident because it took so long for that ship to just sink. So that's what they were thinking too.
Yeah,
They're
and the
like,
Titanic went down in 2 hours and 40 minutes and
yeah,
36 seconds.
yeah. So you know, the biggest thing was the fact that the radio operator did not have instructions to get ice warnings to the bridge in a timely manner.
Yeah.
But
And it probably didn't help that a lot of the gates were still locked and that, so people can get up to the top of the deck very easily.
yeah.
But they kept telling them to go to the grand staircase.
Oh God, you know what? I just remembered this one too, right? Oh my God. The yeah, there was still some Rossism back then. There was against like I think they were Italians where
Probably the Irish.
I think it was Italians in this case. They they had like sous chefs or something who were Italian, and um, the head chef was French, and most of the staff was French. He had them locked in their cabin when they weren't working, so they died because of racism. Because the French hated the Italians at the time.
Yeah, leave it to the French.
It's
Yeah.
just it's bad.
Yeah. There's so much shit that went wrong that it's hard to even tell what could what one thing could change the whole situation.
Yeah, yeah. They if they just slowed down, if
Yeah,
they
but they're
turned,
trying to get to New York in record time to make headlines because it's a maiden voyage. Everybody
they
was done being impressed by their size. Now they wanted to be impressed by your speed.
no, actually, the White Star Line didn't compete in the Blue Ribbon Challenge at that point. They they
No,
they
that
they
owner, not the owner of the White Star Line that was actually on the ship there. He wanted them to increase their speed so they can arrive in New York a day early and surprise everybody.
yeah, I agree that that was the case, but they weren't trying to they weren't trying to break any records. They decided that they were not the Ismay, his name, right?
Yeah.
His father. Um, Ismay's father decided that they were no longer going to compete for the blue ribbon prize of being the fastest ship on the North Atlantic. And he just said he's like, we'll keep up, we'll keep within that speed, we'll be near it, but we're not going to try to win that prize anymore because he saw it as being dangerous. So Ismay's father, I can't remember his first name. I think the son's name was Bruce,
Yeah, there's Bruce Esme. He
and
was the one that was on the ship.
yeah, exactly. He was on the ship. Yeah, and he did say I want to get to New York early, but they could not break the speed. They could not break the record set by I think it was the Germans at the time.
No, but I think they wanted to surprise all the New Yorkers by showing up early to give them something new to talk about besides just the size of the ship.
Yeah, but why would you? I mean, it's like seriously,
Because it's a moneymaker. That's it's all about money.
maybe. But you know what's really interesting is the Olympic actually was the first ship, right, in the line. It was the Olympic, the Britannic, and the Titanic. Olympic came first, Titanic came second, Britannic came third. The Olympic had a career of like 20 or 30 years of service.
I thought they were built at the same time.
They were essentially they were there's like Captain Smith came from the Olympic. He had been captain of the Olympic for a year or two when the maiden voyage of the Titanic happened, right? Because
Yeah.
you can't build three of these 800-foot long luxury cruise liners all at once, right? Har,
I thought they
um,
had two dry docks that could fit them, and they built
Harlan,
the.
right,
I thought
right.
the Olympic and the Titanic were built at the same time, and the Britannia came later.
Essentially, yes, they were built approximately around the same time, but they couldn't keep everything going, right? Because remember, there was a coal shortage too. So the they were begging and borrowing coal to keep these ships going. And so that delays the Titanic from launching, right? A little bit. That delays them for a few, like 6 weeks or something, or 8 weeks. So that delayed them. Um, you can't build, Harlan Wolff had more than one contract, right? They're building ships for more than just the White Star Line. So they may have two dry docks, but they're probably both being used at the same time by two different companies. Um, so Olympic gets built first, Titanic then gets built. As soon as they get finished with the other ship that's not a White Star Line ship, the Titanic starts to get built. So there's about a year difference um, in their launch dates. So that's that's kind of where it was in those days.
Yeah, I still think it's funny though that they claim that the Olympic had an accident, and so they switched out the name tags and all that on the ship with the Titanic there, so that they could collect the insurance money from it. I
Yeah,
was like, that's so stupid because I'm pretty sure every part has its own every part has its own serial number on it, so they can know which ship went to or which part went to each ship. You
at
couldn't change.
least at least the major components, right? I mean, not every rivet is going to have its number imprinted on it.
Yeah, but every boiler has its
But
number.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure every door has its own number because
yeah,
you don't want like both of those fancy French doors that are only used in like one room. To both of them get sent to the one ship, and then the other ship's going, "Where the hell's my door at?"
yeah,
Stuff like that.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure like
So
every door, every not every rivet would have it, but I bet you every steel plate had one, and every boiler had one,
yeah,
and every the
yeah,
elevators all had theirs.
yeah. Major components of the ship would almost definitely have some identifying number imprinted on it. It's interesting because we got underway. So, I was in the Navy and we got underway in 2 days
Yeah.
because that's how long it took for the boilers to get up to enough um, pressure to drive the ship. Um, there had been an engineering casualty on our sister ship, the Capadano. And a casualty in the Navy is not somebody being injured. It's a malfunction, right?
Yeah. So
So
so wait, when you were in the Navy, they still use boilers?
yes, they were switching over. The newer ships were switching over to jet turbines, but that was still a year or two off.
Is it only the aircraft carriers that are nuclear powered then?
That and submarines.
Okay.
The
Because the
smaller
submarines
ships,
need yeah, the submarines need nuclear power so they can remain silent and stealth, right?
nuclear
Because
submarines, yeah,
yeah,
for
because if
yeah.
they had a jet engine or diesel engine, they could easily be picked up on sonar, couldn't they?
I don't know because everything on a submarine is like set on like rubber feet. So every vibration is dampened to
Yeah,
next to nothing.
yeah, but the
This is a Darren
the
question,
gear,
quite
but
honestly, you know?
yeah, but Darren, well, I'm
Darren's
not
not here.
yeah, I'm not subscribed to Darren, and you know, and I don't think he realizes, he doesn't know me at all. So
Yeah.
I barely know Darren. I only know him from Salty Stream. So,
Yeah. I don't
but
think I
but
don't
you
think
think,
Darren's put out too much content
but
in
you
recent
think,
years.
but you think like the a diesel engine works just the same in the truck, and just the noise from the engine would set off a sonar, even if it is on rubber padding.
Well, and that's the thing. It's it's
Because
not a diesel engine.
well, I
Diesel
know. Well, I know back
ours
in the '40s there were diesel engines for the Germans.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. But our ship used, fuel oil, um, similar to like the oil in your house.
Oh, you didn't
If
have to
you
shovel coal into that old burner?
have, heck no, 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 no. That that technology died out a long time ago. But yeah, so we got underway in 2 days, right? Because we had to take this tour that the Capadonna was supposed to take. Um, and so we crossed the Atlantic, and by the time we got there, we had just barely enough food stores on board to get us there. By the time we got there, we were eating powdered eggs made with powdered milk and water, for scrambled eggs. Everything was just pre-packaged concentrates by the time we got there. And so it was like we got into Rota, Spain, and we brought on stores for 6 or 7 straight hours because we had run out of everything essentially because we just didn't have enough time to get all the stores ordered to when we were in Newport, Rhode Island, before we had to get underway. And like I say, it takes 2 days for the boilers on that type of ship to get up to pressure. That's the only reason we had enough food just to even get across the Atlantic. I think so. And I forget where I was going with that story, but it is
I
what it
have that
is.
all the time.
But yeah, so the later destroyer class and others they went to the jet turbines, and the jet turbines were kind of cool because they built in a slot, right, where you could simply run the thing in on rails, mount it, and if something were to go wrong with it, you would put it back on rails, run it back to the hatch, the dedicated hatch for these turbine engines, and they could lift the thing out with a crane, put a new one in, and have the ship back up and running in like half an hour.
Oh, Salty started early tonight.
Did he?
Yeah.
All
So,
right.
do you guys want to head over to Salty Stream?
Sure.
All right, all right. Yeah, it was really great talking to you again, Indy.
Good
Indy, I hope
talking
you
to
have
you
you
too.
on again sometime. You have
Yeah.
fun your channel.
I got nothing new on it, so I think I'll just say have a great night and you know
Yeah.
live long and perspire.
All right. If you guys head over to Salty Stream there, make sure to tell them it's a gorilla raid. Make sure to check out Resolute's Germs channel. We're doing live reacts to the Orville on Thursdays. We are doing um we're also he also has Saturday morning cartoons, and then check out and also Sci-Fi Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. We watch his Farscape and Lex. Pop culture curator. He's doing makeup Mondays where he talks about different makeup in movies and that. That's been very interesting listening to while we're working. He also has the Ray Bradbury Theater on Tuesdays, which has been real fun to listen
Mm-hmm.
to watch and all that. And he does a few other things. For Professor, he does Question Track. It's a real fun game show. Let's do. It's real fun. I've been on it a few times. He also does History with R&R, which they got some really good topics. And Indy, you should go on History with R&R. They can set up a time that works for you.
Yeah.
You should go on there. You can tell some of your war stories there.
Yeah. Mm. And Resolute, if you can find the original Johnny Quest from the 1960s, that would be cool. That would be a. I think you'd like that a lot for your Saturday morning cartoon stream.
Yeah. Alrighty. So with that, I'm gonna end it and tell you guys to be a gorilla. And if you head over to Salty's, tell them it's a gorilla raid.